tell you a story about people who've had my back and how them being there for me has allowed me to be there for others. In 1975, upon the death of my mother, I was 7 years old. Don't start counting. My father's sister became a mother figure to me, my Aunt Jo. We called her Jo, J-O. I always thought it was J-O-E, but she told me it was J-O. Her name was Leona Lucky Poundmore. I don't know how she got the name Jo, but we just called her Jo. She was a country girl, raised in Chicago, but born in Arkansas. So she had those country girl sentiments and that city girl fire. So she could punish you with a stick and reward you with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is my favorite. And she had 2 daughters. They were like sisters to me and my brother. We always lived in the same neighborhood. My father would move, Aunt Jo would move. Aunt Jo would move, my father would move. They were close, brothers and sisters, and they kept us, the cousins, close as well. After school, we would be at her house, watching TV, having snacks, and she'd be watching her stories. And we'd be watching her stories with her. Soap operas. General Hospital. So on Saturday mornings, Aunt Jo would be cleaning house with her daughters. And she wouldn't even let us come inside when we visit her. She had her door open. She would always have her living room door open with her chair facing the outside. And when she saw us drive up, she would yell out the door to my father, "Don't bring those damn kids in my house." Maybe it sounds mean, but she just didn't want us in the way. She would shoo me and my brother to the backyard so we can go and play. And there she had a grape vineyard, and we play and eat those grapes. Sour on the outside and sweet on the inside, just like Aunt Jo. Her husband, my Uncle Doug, he told me they met in, I think, maybe 1960. He said when he first met her, he was a meat cutter, and she came into the store shopping for her aunt. He said when he first saw her, he knew he had to marry her. And they got married, and they stayed married and raised their 2 daughters. And my Aunt Jo took care of her aunt until the day she died. And she took care of everyone. So at school, when I was 8 years old, I made a Mother's Day project, a thing that you set pots on, made out of popsicle sticks, cut little pieces of marble, like tile, glued to the popsicle sticks, so that when you set the pot on it, it wouldn't burn the sticks. And I gave it to my aunt because I saw her as my mother. So I was about maybe 9 or 10. I was playing near Aunt Jo's house, outside of her house, and I threw a rock in someone's window and broke it. I don't remember who, but they came out and started yelling at me really loud. Frightened me. My Aunt Jo came out and calmed the situation and told them they had no right to be yelling at me like that. And then she took me home and she let me have it. And she called my father. When he came to pick me up, he took me home and he let me have it too. So she had my back, protecting me from those neighbors. And then she taught me how to have my own back by not doing those things that would get me in trouble. So back in 1985, in Inglewood, California, where I was born and raised, there was the rise of gangs, drugs, and violence. Not so much at school, maybe a little at school, but more in the neighborhood where I lived, where you can be with the wrong person at the wrong time and get into a lot of trouble. And that's what happened to me. So my dad, he saw that trouble coming, and he sent me to Tennessee to live with my mother's mother, because he saw trouble coming. So he had my back at that time, sent me to Tennessee to live in the country. A little house cut, a patch of trees cut out, and you just drop a house right in the middle. And imagine that, a city boy running the streets of Inglewood, California in the middle of a forest. I lived with my grandmother and my Uncle Sugar. He worked me hard. We would get up at 4:30 every morning, cold, dark. Before the sun came up, we would have our breakfast, do our chores, shower, and get down the road to catch that bus for school. And if you miss that bus, you're in a lot of trouble. So one thing Uncle Sugar taught me was this, because I used to complain about getting up. He said, man, you complain about getting up early. You're going to be getting up early for the rest of your life. And he was right, because I get up every day to pray, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I get up every day to compete. So Sugar had my back, and he taught me to be responsible. So after a year in the country of cutting wood, chopping wood and cutting down trees and shoveling snow, I went back to Inglewood with a different perspective. But I went back to the same neighborhood where my friends were. So I was getting ready to graduate from Hawthorne High School to go to El Camino College to study architectural engineering. But I didn't know what course to take to pursue that career. So between the years of 1986 and 1990, I was getting into some trouble, doing things that other people in the neighborhood would do. And Aunt Jo was always there. She was always there to bail me out. She put everything on the line, her house, her money, and even her own life. So she never said, boy, I'm so tired of you. I'm through with you. She never said that. But she always knew the time when God was. And so she gave my younger brother a key to her house, but she never gave me one. I knew why. I didn't get upset, but I knew why. So in 1990, I had a friend who had converted to the Nation of Islam and became a follower of Louis Farrakhan. I myself was attracted to the militancy, the discipline, and the message of self-determination. But there were things that didn't quite make sense. So then I started reading Malcolm X, and I came across an article written by Imam W. Deen Muhammad called Common Sense. He said we need to be more responsible and more conscious of our role as citizens, as a citizen of the human race. That's what Islam promotes, to appreciate and to be proud of your heritage, of your African American heritage, and at the same time recognize that you are a part of the human race. So that article in the autobiography of Malcolm X made me want to convert to Islam in 1992. So I told my family, I'm a Muslim. It's like, oh, okay. Can you go take out the trash for me? But they said, if that changes you, we're with you. So I told my Aunt Joe, I don't eat pork. So next time I went to her house, it was a holiday, maybe Thanksgiving. And African Americans like to eat pork. And then she made a pot of greens. She had, in my pot, made me a separate pot with turkey necks in it, in the greens. She said, that pot over there is for the other people. And she even bought me my own set of dishes and my own set of pots to cook food for me when I would go visit. My family knew I was serious about being a Muslim. I told them my new name is Rushdan. They called me that. And they told their friends to call me Rushdan, and you better not be calling him by his old name. His name is Rushdan, which comes from Rashad, which means to be rightly guided. And Rushdan is the underlining meaning is someone who has integrity, and that their integrity is what guides them. So now, 25 years later, I serve as an associate imam at Masjid Bilal Islamic Center, where we're raising $2 million to build a masjid and community center on 1.5 acres land that we own outright. No debts, no loans, nothing encumbered upon that land. And I run and manage a food distribution program. And last week we fed over 75 households. So I'm in my first semester at Claremont Bayan's master's degree program in Islamic Studies and Leadership with a certificate in Islamic chaplaincy. My studies are supported by Masjid Bilal Islamic Center and the Muhammad Ali Scholarship Fund. So as you can see, my family had my back, because that's what we do. So I have to also attribute this, that the American Muslim Civic Leadership Institute on the campus of USC really helped me to get focused on what my work should be about. And through them, I ran into a very nice lady of NewGround, Rabbi Sarah Bassin, which is how I landed here tonight. So Muslims, Christians, and Jews, even if you don't have a formal religion, these values are with us before we even come into a religious consciousness to help family, to have each other's backs. So a couple of years ago, when my Aunt Joe died, actually it was, I think, today. I was in Africa, and I flew from Africa to be here for her and with her for my cousins. And I went to her house, and I went into the kitchen looking to make myself that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because that's what I always do when I visit her. I would go straight to the kitchen, I would hug her and kiss her and go to the kitchen and make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. As I was looking for the jelly, I ran across that little pot holder, that little thing that holds the pots. Still intact. In brand new condition. Written on the back, the still writing was there, to Aunt Joe, 1975, 3rd grade. that little fragile thing made of popsicle sticks and marble tiles with Elmer's glue. So she took care of it for 40 years, just the way she took care of me. So these people in my life who assisted me played these roles. They were not Muslim. They were Christian. The Quran says, and lower the wings of humility out of mercy and say, my Lord, have mercy upon them. Talking about our family. Have mercy upon them as they brought me up when I was small. Thank you.